a year ago, I was pretty much in exactly the same place that you guys were. I just graduated from Duke University in May 2019, and now I actually work in Washington, D.C. on neuropsychiatric research, specifically focusing on patients with schizophrenia. But as my side hustle and as my passion project, I work as the Community Engagement Manager for Shakti Collaborative. So you may or may not have heard of us, but I'm going to go into a little bit about what we do, why we do it, and how we came to do what we do. So I'm going to walk you through a little bit of that today and why we choose to tell our stories in a particular way. Let me start by introducing you to a couple of people. This is Riya. She earned her MBA from Wharton, and after that she decided to work as an investment banking analyst in New York. In 2018, she decided to branch out and found her own company. Now, a couple of words might come to mind, a couple of impressions might come to mind when you hear just these things about Riya. So we're going to try a little bit of Socratic method here. Go ahead and shout out just initial thoughts, impressions. Can be one word, can be a phrase. What do you think of Riya?
Capitalist.
Capitalist. All right. Anything else? I might say that maybe she's type A because she founded her own company and she really likes to take initiative on things.
Sell out.
Sell out. All right, we got a little bit of judgment there.
Yeah.
Privilege.
Determined.
Determined.
Successful.
Successful.
Elitist.
Elitist. Okay. So you can think any of these things specifically based on the information we presented here. Let me introduce you to someone else while I'm at it. This is Dr. Nandita Sriram, who also followed, or seems to follow, a very conventional path to success. She currently works as a physician in Kaiser Permanente in California, and she completed her undergrad at Stanford, medical school at Cornell, and she did her residency in internal medicine at UCLA. So, same game. Thoughts, impressions? Go ahead, shout them out.
Goals.
Goals. Doctor. All right.
Accomplished.
Intelligent, accomplished. All right, fair enough. I would say maybe conventional is one way to put it, as a South Asian pre-med myself. This is pretty relatable. All right, let's introduce you to one more person. This is Manisha Irvathini. She's from the Bay Area in California. She went to UC Berkeley for her undergrad and majored in electrical engineering and computer science. So, thoughts, impressions? Conventional as well.
She's gorgeous.
She is gorgeous, isn't she? California. Yeah, and honestly, being Californian comes with its own package of stereotypes, and specifically coming from the Bay Area, like, yes, I get it, because I'm actually from the Bay as well. So, as you can see, these three people I presented to you using basic sketches that you would find on, for example, LinkedIn, or the kinds of things that you would hear about at maybe an Indian party, the kinds of things that you would be asked about, essentially. Where are you going to school? What do you want to do with your life? You know, where are you working? What are your goals academically and professionally? But it doesn't really tell you a whole lot about who they are as humans. For example, you would never know what Riya Roy's company does. You just know that she's an entrepreneur who graduated from Wharton and happened to work as an investment banking analyst, but is maybe, based on the information that we presented, conventional or stereotypical, elitist, some people said. You would know that Dr. Nandita Sriram works in medicine, that she's considered conventionally successful in the South Asian community, but you wouldn't know what inspired her to go into medicine or pick the specific specialty that she did. And as for Manisha, you have no idea what she's doing with her life based simply on the resume items listed here. So, when it comes to talking about our stories, I want to encourage us to shift perspective a little bit. So, what if I told you that Riya Roy, the graduate of Wharton Business School who worked as an investment banking analyst and eventually founded her own company, actually struggled with skin color-based beauty standards her entire life? What if I told you that she established and maintains to this day a skincare routine every single day, and that she actually worked with Miss America 2014, Nina Davaluri, to found a company based on tackling colorist beauty standards? The company's called Avrani, by the way, and it recently earned her a spot on Forbes 30 Under 30 list. there you go. So those of you who said successful, you're right, but there's a little more to that story. Now let's talk a little bit about Dr. Nandita Shriram. So you know where she went to school, you know what she does for a living, but let's talk a little bit about why she made the choices that she did. What if I told you that she wasn't just a physician? She's also a violinist. She's also a Carnatic musician. She's also a Bharatanatyam dancer. What if I told you that when she was growing up, she noticed that her older sister had cerebral palsy, and that was one of the things that inspired her to pursue the career that she did? What if I told you that she's using her platform and her professional experience and ethos to become an ardent advocate in favor of women's health and medical health education? Remember Manisha, the girl from the Bay Area who majored in EECS at UC Berkeley? She's actually not doing anything related to EECS now. In fact, Manisha participated in a South Asian a cappella group when she was back in college, and that became her passion. She decided to enter a televised Telugu music competition and came in 4th place. And since then, she's skyrocketed to the top of the Telugu film industry as a very successful professional singer. She actually made the choice to move back to India and spoke with us about it, which was really, really cool to hear. So the bottom line here is that storytelling encompasses a lot more than those stereotypical questions that we often are asked and ask of each other. It's about painting a holistic, comprehensive portrayal of someone so that you can truly understand what makes them tick and the humanity behind the decisions that they make. So let me tell you about the story of Shakti a little bit. We haven't been around for too long. In fact, back in 2018, Shruti and Swati, the co-founders of Shakti, decided that they kind of had enough with conventional storytelling. They decided that they wanted to take initiative and really promote the kind of storytelling that they wanted to see in the South Asian community. So they founded Shakti Collaborative and started connecting with all of these different South Asian women from all across the globe, publishing their stories, sparking discussions about things that are sometimes swept under the rug in our community. Things like reproductive empowerment, sometimes emotional abuse, colorism, all kinds of issues. In 2019, I joined the team as community engagement manager. And this is actually kind of a fun story because it happened because I slid into Shruti's DMs one day. So 7 years ago, Shruti and I went to high school together, and we only overlapped for about a year. So she was a senior when I was a freshman, and a lot of people ended up conflating us because they were like, oh look, 2 Indian women who are really into school. And I didn't really know a whole lot about Shruti. I knew where she went to school. I knew how conventionally successful she was described as. I knew what she ended up doing with her life, but that was about it. But after I saw her posting on Instagram about the Shakti Collaborative, I reached out to her and I said, hey, I think this is really cool. Is there any way that I can get involved? And it took her about a month, but she and Swati decided to eventually bring me onto their team. And it's been really great, just getting to know them both as human beings and as more than what I would see on LinkedIn or maybe just the alumni network from our high school. Since then, we've worked towards our mission in 3 ways. So first, we empower members of the South Asian community, and we do that with a specific focus on South Asian women. But we're currently expanding to focus on more women of color and also non-binary and male members of the South Asian community as well. Trying to be a little bit more inclusive because everyone deserves to have their story told in a good way. We're also trying to spark discussions about different issues within the South Asian community. So we talked to Nina Davaluri and Rushi Roy, for instance, about colorism and how they're working to combat that. Actually, Nina's currently on a world tour about colorism and educating young girls in India and in other places around the world about that. We sparked discussions on things like reproductive health, mental health. We work with a lot of mental health training coaches to try and help those issues come to light and to help people learn how to better take care of themselves while also striving for their academic and professional goals. We also share experiences through online articles and social media. So we have the typical, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, but we also have a website with both a journal and spotlight content. So we're hoping that our stories inspire people who are just starting out. So maybe some of you know what you want to do already. Maybe some of you are still figuring it out. I know I was about a year ago. We also look at people who are looking to change direction. We try and stimulate conversations about shared issues within our community, and most of all, we hope to let people know that they're not alone in a lot of the experiences, the issues, the difficult choices that they have to make throughout their lives. So here's my challenge to you today. Let's be more thoughtful and deliberate in terms of how we tell our stories. And that starts with the questions that we ask of each other and about other people. So instead of asking questions like, what do you do? Where are you from? Or why do you do that? Try shifting your perspective a little bit. Start asking questions like, what do you like to do? So you can learn about someone's interests. Ask questions like, whom did you grow up with? So you can learn about the people that this person surrounded themselves with and how they shaped their lives. Ask questions like, how did you decide on that? So you can really get at the crux of why people made the decisions that they did, about what influenced them and what spurred them to make certain choices. And in that way, and by shifting our perspective, we can start to create more holistic, comprehensive, three-dimensional portrayals of each other. Thank you so much.